So, in the last module, we were looking at the neurodevelopmental hypothesis of schizophrenia, which was talking about how prenatal and neonatal environmental influences may lead to small changes that lead to a predisposition to schizophrenia. So, I wanted to go over a few more in this one. So I alluded to this in the previous module that if the mother and child blood type differences, there's an increase in the likelihood of schizophrenia. So if the mother has Rh negative blood type and the baby is Rh positive, then the child has about twice the probability of developing schizophrenia. Interestingly enough, the response is weak in the first child, but stronger in later pregnancies, especially for boys. And I think a lot of you might remember the module on sexual orientation that we found that the youngest male had a higher probability of being homosexual. The antibodies against a foreign object seem to get that response tends to get better and better over time. So this next one is really interesting, the season of birth effect. And there's a tendency for people born in the winter to have a slightly 5 to 8% greater probability of developing schizophrenia. So we learned about the seasonal affective disorder where people are more likely to get depressed in the winter. And now you have the season of birth effect, which is people who are born in the winter have a slightly higher probability of developing schizophrenia. They find this more pronounced in the latitudes far from the equator. I don't think you're going to see that. You don't see the same effect near the equator. And the possible explanation is we know that there's a lot of brain development on the core structures because we're going to be talking about brain abnormalities in the next module in the second trimester of pregnancy. And so in the United States, at least, you tend to have a viral epidemic in the fall, and that's when the babies that would be born in the winter would be in the second trimester where there's massive brain development going on there. And so they think that maybe a viral infection or the antibodies influence on the brain during the second trimester may set them up for this schizophrenic tendency. So we do see this, it's called the season of birth effect, and people who are born in the winter have a slightly higher probability of developing schizophrenia. Okay, our final one here that we're going to talk about before we go on to brain abnormalities is just a recap of this. We talked about the viral infections in the mother for the season of birth effect. The increased cytokinins in the mother impair the brain development of the fetus. The fever may slow the division of fetal neurons. And then that's interesting to me because I would think that the fever would increase the division of the fetal neurons, but that's what your textbook is saying, so I'd have to learn more about that to see exactly how it's slowing it. But the conclusion is there's a wide variety of genetic and environmental influences that cause schizophrenia. Basically, we don't know for sure. We're still working on that. But there's a host of new research, and I think that we're going to learn more and more and more about it.